Okay, so it's 5:30. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to our regularly scheduled board meeting. I'll start by moving to return from executive session.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Yes. So if we could start by everyone joining me in a moment of silence for Deputy Larry Henderson, please. Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Lawson, earlier today, a gentleman by the name of Skylar Harden stopped by. He lives in Dayton, and he and his fiance own a company called Laser Love. They prepared this plaque in honor of Deputy Henderson and asked that I deliver it to the sheriff's office, to Lieutenant Downing, in honor of Larry Henderson. So I wanted to show that to you all and continue to express our condolences to the family and everyone impacted and our brothers and sisters at District 5.
Thank you, Vicki. If everyone could please, actually, I would be remiss if I forgot. We have Emily Earhart, who is a scout, who will lead us in the pledge this evening. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily. I feel like my mic isn't really on here. Okay, so we will start this evening with presentations and recognitions. And our first presentation, we actually have Representative Baker here as a guest.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Hi,
So I prepared a sheet kind of like I did last time I came with updates for you all from the state budget and thought that's kind of what's happening, the biggest thing at the state level, as you know, right now. But I tried to pull together, you know, it's over 5,000 pages. So I tried to pull together in one sheet what would be specifically important for here. I know you guys have been up there testifying about the adult use cannabis laws. So we've been emailing and staying in touch with how that's going. I know there's some amendments in the Senate that are hopefully going to get somewhere. I've heard they're mostly around the percentages, less around the 5-year sunset. So I think that's actually a win because it gives us 5 years to fight the fight a little more. So I think fighting to get that percent correct is the best fight at this point, and then seeing how things advance and if we're able to do something with that 5-year sunset. Other than cannabis law, tax revenue, big changes with public education funding. Right now, the way the Senate has it right now, we are stopping the fair school funding and just funding at a set rate, which increased an arbitrary $20 for fiscal year 26 and $30 for fiscal year 27 per student. And also caps carryover balances of school boards at 30%. Have you guys, do you need me to go into that or have you been following that? Sorry. Okay. So they're also working on a work group for student transportation and busing issues. And then with the governor's merit scholarship, there's some changes in what Ohio institutions will accept that or will be able to use. Right now, it's every public or private Ohio institution, and I think it's changing to public only and private with some stipulations. So places like Xavier might not be able to accept the way they are this year. With Medicaid, healthcare, and human services, lots of changes. I included all those in here. So those, you'll see things for any residents that are on Medicaid. I kind of just put out all the cuts in funding, eliminations of line items. Libraries are another big one that Anderson folks have been emailing me about. The library percentage moved back up to keep them pretty flat funded compared to the last 2 years. So they took out the increase that the governor had. They also took out the funding mechanism of public libraries so that they're no longer a percent of the monthly GRF, but instead are just a flat line item. So that's something to watch. And then cuts to the H2O Ohio program and adult use cannabis. And then I stuck on the back, I know you guys, thank you to Trustee Loston for coming up a couple times. We're still fighting the fight, but the voice of townships is really helpful in explaining how important that community host tax credit is, and we're still working on that. But I put kind of the touch people. At this point, it's Senate Finance Committee Chair, Senate President, and this has Madeira's senator, but our senator's the same. Senator Blessing are your big contacts, and then the goal is to have the budget out of the Senate by June 12th or 18th and voted into conference committee, and then out of conference committee by June 25th. So between the 18th and the 25th, you'll want to reach back out to the House leadership as well. And then June 25th, we'll know what happens with it. So those are all the budget updates for this General Assembly. Any questions or anything I can help with?
No, but I appreciate you with the adult cannabis being there and helping us on that issue, as has Senator Blessing. We had a meeting with him last week, the Hamilton County Trustees, and he was very helpful in that because, you know, the public voted on that, and it
Exactly.
passed in Anderson Township by a wide margin.
Yeah.
And in that was that we would get a fee.
Mm-hmm.
And now at the state level, that's trying to be taken away. And now we need that, we would like that money that people voted to have. So I appreciate your helping us on that.
There's a lot in the cannabis law that's being changed. So the tax revenue, I know you're all focusing on, but the voters also voted on what percent, how many home grow. I mean, lots of things that are being changed and rolled back and recriminalized in this bill. So I think there will be a lot of public interest in it. I also think from kind of a government perspective, it's a bad precedent to have an election and then immediately overturn everything. So I think, you know, we're seeing that with property taxes. There's a new referendum going out. Have you updated on that? That would be devastating to local governments. So I think the idea that the government is going to overturn what the voters vote on is going to start more and more of these referendums and constitutional amendments that can't be overturned and that are made without fully understanding what no property tax would mean, what no income tax would mean. So I think there is some will to figure out something so that the legislature is being receptive to the pushback.
Well, thank you. And I also appreciate your questions in testimony, just kind of reminding and circling back to our role as trustees. It's to represent the will of our constituents. It's a balancing act. It's balancing your personal views. It's balancing safety, but representing your residents' interests. And so I do appreciate your comments and your presentation this evening.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming up and talking with them. It's one thing for us to say our township people are saying these things. It's a whole another thing to have them there and saying it to them. So thank you.
Thank you.
And we're going to keep on until June 25th.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Yep.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple proclamations this evening, and the first one I think is Dee, you're going to take
I
this
am
one.
going to take this one, yes. We have a proclamation designating May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Anderson Township. I'm just going to read the first part. Whereas supportive families, communities, and resources help children lay the groundwork for lifelong well-being, and whereas support, understanding, and access to care help people with serious mental illness or serious emotional disturbance and their families pursue, recover, and live meaningful lives. And whereas supportive relationships, connected communities foster a sense of belonging and promote mental well-being for all. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Anderson Township Trustees of Anderson Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, as we proclaim May 25th as Mental Health Awareness Month in Anderson Township. So, and do we have to
Second.
vote? Second, thank you.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
And real quick, we do have a Anderson Mental Health Collaborative in the township. There's a number of organizations are involved. I'm head of the steering team on that. I've been on that, well, since the beginning. We started in 2018. A gentleman here in the township by the name of Mike Glenn went out to the Park District, the School District, the Township, Mercy Health, 1 in 5, a lot of organizations are involved in that. It's not a nonprofit, it's a collaborative. We get together, we meet every other month to talk about what your organization's doing, how can it fit into what other organizations are. We just share ideas, support each other. The school district always has a few representatives show up. It's important, and I'm glad that we do this. So anyway, so it's an important month.
Well said, Dee. It is. It's very important. I think it's helped a lot in opening up those conversations without the stigma that
Yeah.
used to be there.
And one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Since it is Mental Health Awareness Month, we're encouraging businesses to put something on, if you have a sign out front to say, go green for mental health, or, mental health is important, whatever you want to put on your sign. I encourage employees to wear green during Mental Health Awareness Month. If you just get all your employees to wear green or just anybody, just wear green one day. I think the school district already had their green day last Friday. So anyway, it's just important. Thank you.
Agree. The second proclamation that we have this evening is actually a resident that reached out to me, and I won't share their name just because I didn't tell them that I would or ask. But they reached out to me about ALS, which is commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And, this resident shared with me how that she was impacted by Lou Gehrig's disease. And for me personally, I've had a coworker that's been impacted. And her recommendation and her suggestion to also make May ALS Awareness Month, I appreciate her bringing that to my attention, and so we're going to do that as well this evening. So I also will read some of this resolution just because I think this is part of raising awareness. But whereas ALS, also commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive, fatal, neurodegenerative disease in which a person's brain loses connection with their muscles, slowly reducing a person's ability to walk, talk, eat, and eventually breathe. ALS Awareness Month provides an opportunity to increase public awareness of the dire circumstances of people living with ALS, acknowledge the terrible impact this disease has on those and their families, and support research to eradicate this disease. So in light of that, I like to move to adopt a resolution declaring May ALS Awareness Month.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes. Okay, and then we have one more.
We do. I'll take that one. This one's a little more fun, I guess. This one is the proclamation designating May as Bike Month in Anderson Township, and I think it's appropriate for us to do this for a number of reasons. One is because we've added miles and miles of trails over the years that people use for that purpose. I was involved in the Nagel Bike Park, which, if anyone has never been to that yet, over at Nagel Middle School, it's pretty cool what they've done, and they continue to change it and update it, and it's just a great little asset over there. And I know a lot of people cycle around here. We certainly have the hills to prove that it's a challenge. So with that, I will introduce a proclamation resolution designating May 2025 as Bike Month in Anderson Township.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes. Well said. Thank you. And so then next we have another recognition. This is Doug Egan on completion of the Ohio Fire Executive Program.
Good evening. If I could call forward Lieutenant Doug Egan and his family. So if the board will indulge me for just a minute, I want to talk about Lieutenant Doug Egan and his family. This is a family accomplishment. When you hear about the effort and the time it took to reach this achievement, I think you'll agree with me. But I want to talk a little bit about, before we talk about the specific accomplishment, I want to talk a little bit about Lieutenant Egan and what he's accomplished. A lot of people see the fire department as individuals, the badge, the people, but they don't get a chance to know what it's taken to achieve the positions they have, the educations, the experiences they bring with them that make them a better individual and a better firefighter and a better department overall, which relates directly to the services they give to this community. So I want to talk a little bit about Lieutenant Egan here just for a second. He was hired as a career firefighter paramedic with Anderson in 2014. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2021. He has been a co-manager of the Public Outreach Division since 2019, and that is all the things we do, going out and interacting with the public. One of the biggest things I think that people might associate with him after tonight is that he started and currently organizes the annual Stuff the Medic unit, which is the toy collection drive. And if I'm not mistaken, annually, they're responsible for things around 900 to 1,000 toys a year that is distributed through Anderson Township and surrounding communities to people that are less fortunate at Christmas time. He also organizes the Emily Department's Safety Services Day, which is another big event up at the Station 6 Firehouse. He's also a continuing education instructor for us and other departments. He previously served as the fire department representative on the township's ethics committee, and he received the Post 318 Firefighter of the Year award in 2020. His educational highlights include in 2019, he graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Fire Safety in Engineering from the University of Cincinnati. He received that degree with cum laude honors. He previously graduated from UC Claremont with 2 associate's degrees in EMS and Business Management. He currently teaches fire and EMS classes at Brown and Claremont Adult Career Center. Now, the reason we're here tonight is because he has accomplished his Ohio Fire Executive program of study. So this is a program that's run by the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association, and he was one of only 23 fire officers that completed this accomplishment in 2025. OFE is a comprehensive 2.5 year program that teaches chief officers and company officers that show potential to be chief officers how to be better leaders in the fire service. The program consists of 5 one-week residency sessions in Columbus, where he's away from his family, in which he learns lessons in leadership, public and media relations, budgeting, finance, ethics, and legal issues that relate to the fire service. The program's capstone project, which is a large written project that takes months and months to complete, is an applied research paper focused on improving the participants' home department in some manner. And Lieutenant Egan's research project was improving the preparedness for company officers in the Anderson Township Fire Department. I've read the document. We are going to be implementing many of the ideas that were in that because it was derived from surveys for chiefs across the county and other leaders that we want to help make our officer preparedness program better, and his applied research program will definitely do that. So with that, I want to congratulate and recognize and present to everybody Lieutenant Egan and his family for completing the Ohio Fire Executive Program. Congratulations.
I just wanted to thank Chief Martin for supporting me throughout this program. It was a long program, and he gave us the time off to go up there. Battalion Chief Carlson, who kind of encouraged me to do it. Our township, especially our 3 trustees who helped me out with that one comprehensive assignment, which we aced. And then my family right here, like Chief Martin said, especially during baseball and softball season, that week away was kind of hard on them, but we made it. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Beautiful family.
You want to say anything?
So at this time, I'd like to call forward firefighter Alex Swart and those members of his family that would like to come up with him. So this evening, I want to recognize firefighter Alex Swart for his completion of the IAAI certification as a fire investigator. There's a lot of letters in that. But I want to talk a little bit about his background with our department as well. He joined Anderson Township Fire Department in 2008. His prior experience was with Terrace Park, Montgomery, and Little Miami Fire Rescue before he decided to join the department I hope he retires from. So relative to the reason for his training or how it started was he became a basic fire investigator in 2018. He joined the Hamilton County Fire Investigation Unit in 2019. He became an IAAI Fire Investigation Technician in February of 2025, and he became a certified fire investigator just last month. We'll talk a little bit about what that takes. The pursuit of the CFI, the Certified Fire Investigator, is a years-long process. In order to receive your CFI certification, you must be certified and test as a basic fire investigator to even start. Then you must collect a minimum of 5 years of fire investigation experience, along with obtaining a substantial number of educational fire investigation training classes. Then you have to apply for and be accepted to even sit for the IAAI certification test. And then if you're accepted to sit for the test, you have to successfully pass that test, which I am happy to say firefighter Swart recently did. So since 2018, over the past 7 years, firefighter Swart has attended 39 fire investigation classes and seminars, preparing him for his fire investigation certification, testing, and work for our department. He not only investigates fires in Anderson Township, but he investigates fires of questionable origin throughout the county. So some of those classes that he's been involved with or has taken is fire investigation ethics, basic arson investigation theories, advanced fire investigation technology, fire analysis and fire timeline studies, fire pattern analysis, electrical fire investigations, motor vehicle fire investigations, combustible and flammable liquid fire investigations, explosives event analysis, the digital photography and scene recreation, and rules of evidence and trial preparation, which I am sure was a challenging course because not only do they have to go through collecting all the evidence, they have to make sure they do it in a way that they're able to present it to a court of law down the road. So as you can see, the attainment of the IAAI CFI certification is no small task. Like I said, it took 7 years, and what I was able to count, 39 classes in order to receive this. It's quite an achievement for both firefighter Swart and his family because they didn't attend those classes when he was away from home, and those sometimes were multi-day seminars and classes. So with that, I want to congratulate firefighter Swart and his family, recognize them publicly for the work I know he will do for the township and for the fire department, and just say thank you for his efforts.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You don't have to. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And I want to thank both these gentlemen for their efforts. And I'd like to thank the individuals of the fire department that came and took their time today to come up and be here for these recognitions. That's all the fire department has. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, so now we will move into our public forum. Individuals who wish to address the board should state their name and address for the record, make their points as clearly and concisely as possible, and limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes, which may not be shared with or yielded to others. All comments shall be directed to the Board of Township Trustees. Thank you in advance for your comments.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Dunkelman, 800 Old Orchard Road. I would like to address the board about a recent appointment that you made. I believe that the public put trust in you to make appointments, and that's one of the most important things that you do. And I want to tell you about the character of one of the individuals you appointed. Last election day, this past November, I got a call before the polls even opened from one of my precinct executives that was being harassed at the poll. The Republican that was there at the poll took down the Democratic signs, destroyed them so badly that they could not be put back up, and continued to give me a hard time, gave the person that was there, the volunteer, a hard time. I sent somebody inside to get the inside workers. They came out. They told this individual, you need to allow the Democrats to have signs. Republican signs are there. Democrat signs need to be allowed to be put up too. And so finally, after that, he did put them up. I have photographic evidence, which I am very happy to send to you via email. I sent those photos to the Board of Elections, and they were concerned enough that on a very busy day, they sent a representative to that poll to deal with the individual. And then a couple hours later, they weren't satisfied that this individual was going to behave himself. They came back again. The name of this individual, I saw him a minute ago, but it's Mr. Comerford, who you just appointed to the park. Now, it's very disturbing as a longtime residents of this community to know that you appoint people without looking at their background, without doing any kind of check, because there are a lot of people that could verify what I'm saying and similar things. So a very serious question, what exactly do you look at when you make appointments to these positions? Because to me, it seems like this was a political appointment. And for over a decade, I have been accused by people that sit up here of being overly political. But it seems to me that this act of letting somebody go that was doing his job and replacing him with somebody that is overtly political is, I cannot begin to understand it. So serious question that I hope somebody will answer. What do you look at when you make these appointments?
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Anyone else?
Anyone else for public comment?
My name's Tom Sutton, 8250 Tidewater Court, and this is the perfect night to be here because last November, Ms. Earhart and Chief Martin came out and spoke with our HOA for Tidewater Creek, and I got the idea for doing a fire safety day for our neighborhood and reached out to Chief Martin, eventually got in touch with Lieutenant Egan. Did he sneak out? I thought he was still back there. And put it off until May. We had better weather, so May the 3rd, which just absolutely poured rain all day long. Lieutenant Egan, firefighters Ryan Merrill and Carrie Henkner, hopefully got that right, they came out and, many of our residents are older. They went through over a dozen houses, made sure their smoke detectors were up to date, put new ones in. I guess there's access to a grant where they could get new one. And they were absolutely marvelous. And now that I've heard more about Lieutenant Egan's background, I can see why. And I just wanted to publicly recognize them for their dedication for our safety. Thank you.
Oh, how wonderful
you.
of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Kevin Mishak, 8433 Holiday Hills Drive. I apologize for my appearance. My son and I just finished up a quick 9 holes at Johnson Hills Park disc golf course. We've enjoyed it. It was a disc golf course that was donated to the community by local volunteers. They raised the money, they put the park in, they maintain it. We also are within walking distance of Julius Park. We enjoy that. I'm a member of Anderson Hills Church. Recently, we raised $3 million to add a park to the front of our building for the community. All right, so I do enjoy our parks. I'm within walking distance of Julius Park. Tuesday, I had the pleasure, questionable, of attending the board meeting for the Parks District. All right, come to find out, the park levy that we approved recently isn't enough money. They want more money. At the same meeting, they approved a $900,000 lighting project for one sports field. A sports field that has a $1 million field. And they want more money. It's on a levy this fall. How much more money? Almost twice as much as I'm currently giving. I even looked it up on my taxes, how much I'm giving the Park District. During this meeting, one of the new board members, not Mr. Comerford, asked a fairly innocuous question about these expenses. The executive director, Ken Kushner, jumped all over. I mean, literally, it was embarrassing. All right? It was disrespectful. It was unprofessional. 18 months ago, this park district borrowed $6.5 million to buy a piece of property worth half that, 3.6. And now we're on the hook for that interest payment. Because we need more money. They're spending money hand over fist on improvements. I get it. And they want more money. They borrowed money without asking the community that we're not on the hook for. I understand the Park District is separate from the township, okay? But they're out of control, all right? They're spending money, they're borrowing money, they're asking for more money. It's ridiculous, people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
It was hard to follow that. Okay. I'm Jessica Cunningham, 2011 Forest Crest Way. Good evening. I am one of the organizers for Eastside Pride, and I am here to cordially invite you all to our second annual Eastside Pride event. It's June, let me make sure I get this right, June 8th from 1 to 5 at St. Tim's Church on Beachmont. Big shout out to St. Tim's for sponsoring and continuing to be a force for good in our community. Last year's event was a huge success. We had hundreds in attendance, food, music, crafts, games. Local leaders made an appearance. We had our very own Rachel Baker, Representative Rachel Baker. And we also had our very own Trustee Dee who came out. I'm sure Dee could attest to how joyful this family fun event was and how important it is to have an event so inclusive, like a gathering in our community. This year, we'll be having back Jake Speed and the Freddies for a free concert, free hot dogs while they last, arts and crafts for kids, local vendors like Lucy Blue, Snowy, as well as other businesses and organizations. So please join us June 8th from 1 to 5 at St. Tim's. If you would like to donate, or get involved, please visit eastsidepride.org, and donations can be made at any Fifth Third Bank. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Yay.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Okay, anyone else for public comment? Okay, then we will close the public forum and move into trustee comments. I'll start with you, Dee.
Okay, I will start. Thank you for that. Yes, it was a great event last year, and unfortunately, I will be out of town this year, but I encourage others to attend. It was fun. And just on that, it's up at the St. Tim's. The farmers market opens this Saturday at that same spot. That's always a nice place to go on Saturday mornings, and they have live music every week, and it's just a great community event. And I also want to thank everyone who came out for the procession along Beachmont Avenue last Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah, last Friday morning. It was very moving, and we had so many people showed up. Anderson Township showed up, and I was very proud of our community for that. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it, but people showed up, people were very respectful, and anyway, I appreciate everybody that came. Thank you.
Thanks, Dee. It was very moving.
That's it.
Okay,
Thanks, Steve.
thank you. Josh?
Couple things. One, touching back on the issue that regarding the marijuana tax that you've gone up and testified, which I want to thank you for doing that now a couple of times. And your testimony was great, spot on, professional. I think people really respected it. So thank you for doing that. Vicki Earhart, our administrator, we get these township magazines, the OTA. I'm on the board of the OTA, puts out these magazines across the state. We finally made the cover. I don't know if that's ever happened, but of course they got Purdy on the Plaza on there, so I don't know. But she wrote a great article, and we have copies of this here in the building if anyone wants a copy, or maybe what I'll do is post this. But it's a great letter about what's really behind the bill and why we're fighting for it. And Rep. Baker touched on it. It's what the voters wanted, and the stuff in that bill is very helpful for the township when it comes to the host communities and the revenue that is potentially included in that, to the extent that it will help stave off levies and other things. So we're going to keep fighting for that, and I appreciate Lexi and you writing the article, because I know, thousands of people see this. Speaking of firefighters, I mentioned this last time, but we are bringing back the Firemen's Festival. Myself, our union president, Brad Moore, one of our firefighters, Mark Cunningham, and Dan Varner and I have been working over the last year to bring this festival back. And I think it's needed now more than ever. It is a chance for the community to come together and have a lot of fun. It's going to be down at Belterra. It will be May 30th, Friday, May 30th and 31st. That's actually the same night that my brother is getting married, so we kind of screwed up on that date, but sorry, Bo. But I'll be at the wedding, I promise. But it's going to be a great thing. We have had a tremendous amount of support from sponsors, so now we just need to pull it all together and for people to come down that weekend and enjoy themselves. And then finally, Larry Henderson's, that thing was, tragic, terrible, an unimaginable act of evil. And did you hit on it? What happened in this community that morning, that Friday morning, was great. If anybody watched the funeral, that man over there, Lieutenant Dave Downing, gave an incredible eulogy. Incredible. And I just want to say thank you. I think what you said that day opened everybody's eyes to what an amazing man he was. And I know so many people appreciated that. And I know it wasn't easy for you. I know it hasn't been easy for anybody in blue. But I can't tell you from this board how much we appreciate you, your service, everybody, our relationship with the county sheriff's office. That was a tough week for everybody, and I know it was toughest for you guys. What you said was incredible. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you. Very well said. And I agree. So I have another announcement before I begin with my comments. The Memorial Day bell ringing ceremony is on Memorial Day, so Monday the 26th. This is a solemn remembrance, and it's at 11:45 at the Anderson Center South Plaza. So if you have names that you wish, veterans' names that you would like to have them honored or read during the ceremony, you can arrive there by 11:45. The ceremony will begin at noon, and their names can be remembered and they could be honored. So I also did just want to address some of the public comment. There was a question about the park commissioner. So I do want to just clarify a couple of things. I know I have people in the community that I speak with that are not attending these meetings, and some had asked me what happened. Was a commissioner removed? And so I think that in a way is a bit misleading as far as no one was removed. As far as removing a park commissioner, while these individuals are volunteering their time to serve, they are serving in an appointed office position. And so trustees couldn't just remove them if they wanted to. Matt Delaney's term ended, and that's a big difference. These commissioners are appointed by the trustees. So because a previous board of trustees appointed you, it isn't a lifetime appointment. When your term ends, you have to interview for the role. And what's going to be discussed in the interview is an exec session, so there's no notes, it's private. But I did talk about the criteria that I was looking for, and I'll speak specifically for myself as a trustee in the commissioners. And this was at the November meeting, which they are online, but I know that you probably have a lot of other things to spend your time than watching all those old videos. But I was pretty specific. I was looking for someone that would be a steward of the parks with fiscal responsibility in mind. Any huge projects or purchases, I wanted those commissioners to have a fiscally responsive view and include maintenance plan in their securing funding. I specifically said that one of the things that was important for me was that the commissioners engage the community and be responsible stewards, but responsive as the needs of the community may change. And so there were some big developments within the past couple years with the park. So I believe they passed their very first capital levy. They bought the Beach Acres property, and yes, it was purchased for double the appraised value. And as trustees, we are not involved in those decisions. We don't have authority over the park board. We don't have authority over the parks for good or for bad. So we don't have oversight, but we also watch their operating levy not pass for the first time. And so for me as a trustee to say, you know what, you guys were all friends with the old trustees, I'm just gonna rubber stamp. Well, I'm not gonna do that. I asked very, very specific questions, and I selected individuals that made it clear to me that their priority was to look at the entire community's needs and completely engage the community and be very responsible and responsive with spending. And so that means that if you've always gone out for the same millage amount for every levy, if the community says, whoa, you're responsive and looking at a different one, and this new board has already started that. So it wasn't political. In fact, some of the board members or commissioners that have been replaced actually had some of my political views, and new members do not. I've appointed several people with varied views, whether it's for zoning or this, because I really take it seriously, and I don't know all of those past relationships. I go by what I've seen presented to me and those very specific conversations. So I don't mean to go on a diatribe, but it is important for you to know, and for everyone to know, that it was a process, and that just because you were appointed by a previous board, that doesn't mean that you're grandfathered in to being a commissioner forever, especially if in conversations and interviews, we don't feel that you're on the same page as the comprehensive plan and being a steward in a fiscally responsible way when the community has given you a mandate with a levy. So that will pretty much be the end of my comments on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lexi.
Thanks. Okay, so moving over to the fiscal officer. Brian.
All right, you have the April financials in your packet. And so we've collected about half of what we expect to collect for property taxes. And overall, about 48% of what we think. And on the expenditure side, the general fund is about 21% of what we've budgeted, and all funds 14%. So through April, that's where we are, pretty in good shape. Everything is similar to last year, or at least in what we think is what we're projected to happen for the year. So nothing out of whack. Now you'll notice for next month, the fund balance will go down and the expenditures will go up, because today we sent the school districts their portion of the TIF revenue that we collect. So that was about $9.6 million that we sent to them.
Can you say that again?
9.6 million.
Yes. That's a good thing.
That's half. Half.
That's their first payment.
First
So
payment,
yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
That's the financials.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
And then we have a couple resolutions too.
Resolution?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I
we
move-
have two then and nows
Mhm.
to approve. One for Bethesda Healthcare and one for Bricker Graydon.
Okay.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing payments.
Second.
Mrs. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Girth,
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson.
Yes.
And you'll remember last month I said I was trying to dig myself out of minutes. So there's
Okay, I'll do the
Another
first and you.
several of those.
Okay.
I move to adopt a resolution approving the minutes of December 12th, 2023, November 21st, 2024, February 20th, 2025, and April 8th, 2025.
Second.
Mrs. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Girth.
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson.
Yes.
You get it?
I'll move to adopt the minutes from April 8th, 2025 and April 14th, 2025.
Second.
Mrs. Stone.
Yes.
Mr. Girth.
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson.
Yes.
April 8th, we did twice.
Okay.
Oh.
It's approved. Okay.
We
Doubly
really-
approved.
Yeah, we really want to know April 8th, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
Alrighty. So moving over to our law director, Margaret.
Good evening. There's a resolution in your packet relating to the amendment of a resolution passed by a prior Board of Township Trustees levying an excise tax on certain transactions. Just by way of background, the Ohio Revised Code permits townships to levy an excise tax on transactions by which lodging is provided by a hotel to, quote, transient guests in your territory of jurisdiction. And so in 2006, the then Board of Township Trustees did levy an excise tax of 3% on lodgings. This is commonly known as a hotel tax, okay? So in 2023, the state legislature reviewed the provisions in the code relating to these types of excise taxes, and they amended the definition of hotel in an act that was passed in 2023. So the resolution that you have keeps that prior resolution in place, but it updates the definition of hotel to match what the legislature acted upon in 2023.
Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. I
Yep.
move to adopt a resolution amending resolution number 06042006, levying excise tax on certain transactions.
Second.
Mrs. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Girth.
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson.
Yes. Thank you, Margaret. Up next, we have Finance, our Finance Director, Tammy Disk.
Good evening.
Hi,
Good
Tammy.
evening.
Hi. Budget preparation is underway for the 2026 preliminary tax budget. And in accordance with ORC 570530, we are asking that the board set the public hearing for it.
I move to set a public hearing for Anderson Township's 2026 preliminary tax budget for Thursday, June 26, 2025, beginning at 5:30 PM in the board meeting room at Anderson Center, 7850 5 Mile Road.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Anything this evening from planning and zoning? Thank you, Paul. Anything else this evening, Chief Martin? Nothing. Okay. And then Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, District 5, Lieutenant Dave Downing.
If I may, briefly, I just wanted to thank the board and the departments and the administration for all the support last week. I felt it. It was relayed over and over again from every department and from the administration and from you yourselves. And then also, I just wanted to relay, again, the procession was very early. You know, I think we got up Beachmont at 7:30, and turning on to Ohio Pike, I see Union Township's got their flags out, and there's a lot of people on the side of the road, and you get the little lump in your throat, and you know that your community cares. And then I've told a few of you this, crossover 8 Mile and coming up on Nagel, and when you get to the point where you can see the operations center, I don't know what you guys were spraying in the air. It may have been pepper spray, but I'm on the motorcycle, and I must have got something in my eye, because I mean, it just starts running, and I look over at my partner on the other side of Larry, and he's got the same issue. And I just want to tell you that as a community, Anderson Township turned out. It's 7:30 in the morning. People are trying to get to school. They're trying to get to work. And we realize like that how much the sheriff's office means and how much support we have from the community. And it is huge. And I just wanted to say that publicly to the community and the board and the departments and administration. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
With that being said, there is a new liquor license being requested by 983 C Store Inc., which is doing business as the Grab and Go, located at 8006 Beachmont Avenue. And it is a new request. We have no objection to it.
I move not to object to a new liquor license request for 983 C Store Inc., doing business as Grab and Go Anderson, located at 8006 Beachmont Avenue.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes. Thank you. Anything this evening from Public Works? Thank you, Eric. And so now I'll turn it over to Vicki, our Township Administrator.
Yes, good evening. You'll be hearing from 4 of us this evening. First up is Mr. Magna. He has items 14A through 14D.
Good evening. The first item I have is a resolution ratifying action taken by the Township Administrator in designating Dynegy Energy Services East as our electric supplier for our street lighting and non-street lighting accounts for 1 year. I can answer any questions if you have any.
I move to adopt a resolution ratifying action taken by the Township Administrator in designating Dynegy Energy Services East LLC as electric supply provider to the township for township street lighting and non-street lighting accounts, and executing and delivering an agreement with the designated electric service supply provider.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is a resolution for your consideration authorizing the sale of surplus personal property by use of the Hamilton County surplus internet auction site. This agreement will expire at the end of 2027 for your consideration.
Okay. I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of surplus personal property by use of Hamilton County's surplus internet auction pursuant to a contract with the Board of County Commissioners of Hamilton County, Ohio, authorized by Section 307.15 of the revised code, which contract is approved and authorized.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. With that one done, we can do the C. Next one is a resolution for your consideration authorizing the sale of surplus equipment using the Hamilton County surplus auction site.
Thank you. I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of surplus equipment by use of Hamilton County's surplus internet auction pursuant to Section 505.12 of the revised code, providing for sale of personal property via internet auction.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. My last item is a motion to award the Kellogg Avenue Landscape Maintenance Program. On May 6th, we opened bids. You have the copy of the one bid we received. The published estimate was $120,000, and the recommended bid totals $127,920. We're allowed to award up to 20% in excess of the estimate. Staff reviewed the bid for completeness to establish the best and lowest and or most responsive bidder. Based on this analysis, we recommend awarding the contract to Merkle Lawn Care Company in that amount of $127,920 with a 10% contingency of $12,792, and we have funds allocated in this year's budget for the work.
I move that this board hereby accepts the bid of $127,920 from Merkle Lawn Care Company, deemed to be the best and lowest and/or most responsive bidder for the Kellogg Avenue Landscape Maintenance Program project in accordance with the bid plans and specifications, together with a 10% contingency for maximum appropriation of $140,712 in township funds using 1994 TIF funds allocated in the 2025 budget. Further, this board hereby authorizes and directs the township administrator to give timely notice of award to the contractor and, after consultation with the law director, to enter into contract with Merkle Lawn Care Company in accordance with the bid for Kellogg Avenue Landscape Maintenance Program project.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Thank you, and thank you, Margaret.
Well done. Well done.
Hey, Mark, since we touched a little bit on Dynegy earlier, I think it's important also for people to know that we did get rates.
We did get Duke rates. Duke's rate was published at 10.445.
Yeah, so I think it's important because people always have questions about our aggregation program, and there's always stuff floating around on Facebook about it. We so those who are in the program will be saving money over Duke. That
Yes, they
has
will.
been confirmed.
Yes,
So
starting with their June meter read.
that's right. So
Yes,
thank
yes.
you. And I know you spend a ton of time working on this. You get calls, even though
I get a
Energy
lot of
Alliance is supposed to be
calls.
getting called, but you talk people off the edge, and we really appreciate it.
I get a lot of irate people.
Yeah, but
recently.
what's great is that once Mark, and Vicki, you can back me up on this, once you talk to them and explain what's going on, they're like,
Yes,
okay.
Yes, they calm down a little bit.
But I know it can be confusing, so thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I let them vent, and then they come back to reason, and,
Yeah.
and they understand the program. And although I did have one resident that didn't even realize it was on the ballot in November.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was
Yeah.
approved by
Voters,
By
by a
voters.
big amount
Yeah,
in
like 70.
2016.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Thanks.
thank you for the work.
Thank you.
Did Mrs. Stone second that?
Mr. Severs is up next.
I didn't call
did?
I didn't call
Oh, he
roll
didn't
yet.
call the-
I didn't
Oh, you
call
didn't
roll
roll
yet.
Oh,
second.
I'm sorry.
reading it
No, I
again.
did second. I did second.
Yes, you second it. Mrs.
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a number of items for your consideration this evening, and I should actually give kudos here to our planning and zoning department, because most of these all result from comprehensive plan or planning activities, hence the board's emphasis and priority on our plans and implementing them. So the first three, first of which is a resolution authorizing staff to make application to OKI for a grant application to construct intersection improvements at the intersection of 8 Mile and Clough Pike. This is consistent with the Clough Pike corridor study that was adopted in 2021, would entail the addition of right turn lanes on 8 Mile onto Clough Pike in both directions that would create additional capacity on Clough Pike. So these applications, all three of these are due in the next couple of weeks. Appreciate your consideration of that.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing OKI STBG grant application to construct intersection improvements at Clough Pike and 8 Mile Road and committing local matching funds.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. The second application that we're requesting is for OKI STBG grant application for a new pilot program through OKI. This involves applications for their OKI repaving program. Only collector or arterial roadways are eligible, of which the township has none in our 123 miles of roadway. However, we've been working with the Hamilton County Engineer's Office to identify a potential project. That project is Newtown Road from Bartles Road down to Raglan Road, or the Village of Newtown line. And so on behalf of the county, we would make that application. There is a note in here about a local match, but that local match is paid for by Ohio State toll credits, so there would be no financial obligation on the township, and the project, if awarded, would be managed by the Hamilton County Engineer's Office.
This program is being well received at OKI by our members, I can promise you that. So I will move to authorize OKI STBG grant application for OKI repaving program.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. And speaking of repaving, the third application is for Southwest Ohio Regional Transit Authority, or SORTA, Transit Infrastructure Funds. These are monies that were voted on by the taxpayers of Hamilton County back in 2020 for a program that would allocate funding to be utilized on roadways or within 1/2 a mile of roadways affected by or impacted by Metro service. Pleased to say the county, Hamilton County Engineer's Office, received an award in 2023 for Sutton Road. That project is out for bid right now and will begin construction later this year for Sutton Road from the corporation line with Mount Washington and City of Cincinnati all the way to Kellogg, a roadway that is in desperate need of attention. They'll be making those improvements. In conjunction with that, the township has been designing sidewalk on the northern portion of this roadway, consistent with our Anderson Trails plan. That would be from Salem Road up to Orchard Lane in the City of Cincinnati. Orchard then goes back into the township. So the application is to apply for those funds for that sidewalk project with required local match. So if there's any questions, happy to answer those.
No, but real quick before I read this, is the SORTA grant what from last year what paid for the new light out here? Is that
So the township's been fortunate to receive 3 SORTA grant applications. The first paid for the first phase of the Elston sidewalk down by United Dairy Farmers, to which we have funds through OKI that we're doing the bridge work now over to the Little Miami Trail. Our second project is a crosswalk at Beachmont and Vole, a pedestrian activated crosswalk that we are currently in final design on. The third project was the traffic signal at the top of the hill that went flashing earlier this morning. Thank you very much to Mark Magnan and Eric Lugenbuehl for their efforts to move that forward along for the last several months. That light will go operational on May 27th, Tuesday the 27th. So yes, it's a good portion of that project. The township then did, excuse me, allocate TIF funding for our local match to that. So.
Okay, good. Thank you. I move to adopt a resolution authorizing SORTA Transit Infrastructure Fund grant application to construct Anderson Trails link along Sutton Road from Salem Road to Orchard Drive and committing local matching funds for construction, engineering, and related activities.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. We hope to move that forward. That Sutton Road project has been on our trails plan for a long time, and we're anxious to get that implemented. Projects that have been newcomers to the trails plan, the 2023 update, include sidewalk proposals for a portion of Bridges Road and also on Evanor Drive and Clough Pike. So this would be basically trying to make a longstanding desire to connect the northern part of the township, the Wilson Elementary area, and Eagles Watch, with the sidewalk down to Clough Pike and the rest of the community. Although it's a township roadway, it's the most economical, most direct way. And so what you have before you is a preliminary engineering proposal for sidewalk on portions of Clough Pike, namely from Forest Crest to Evanor, and then on Evanor Drive in its entirety. A separate project along with this is on Bridges Road from Whispering Pines Lane to Gamwell to connect in the neighboring street down in that area. So again, this is outlined in our Anderson Trails plan for 2025 planning, and these funds would be allocated for that initial study. We'd come back to you for final engineering if we ultimately can find an alignment and property owners that are willing to grant easements.
I move to authorize the township administrator to enter into a contract with JMA Consultants following review by the law director for preliminary engineering of a sidewalk along portions of Evanor Drive, Clough Pike, and Bridges Road, utilizing 94 TIF funds in the 2025 budget in an amount not to exceed $11,000, including an additional 10% contingency of $1,100.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. And lastly, our spring floods this year were quite dramatic, having two of them and one being the largest since the 1997 flood. So it's fairly ironic that this topic is on the agenda for tonight. But we're requesting the board consider allocating preliminary planning for open space area in the Old Fort part of our community. For those that aren't aware, this is off Diebolt Road in the northern part of the township along the Little Miami River west of Newtown. This is area that we began acquiring property for in the late 90s through FEMA funds and have been on that effort for almost 3 decades now. So we're ready. I think the timing is right to move forward, and this would begin to allow us to make improvements that would complement all the other great work that's happening in the Little Miami Valley here in Anderson and beyond. So that proposal is from Burgess and Nyepel, and there's a motion in your packet for consideration.
The effort done to clean up that area is incredible, and I
It's
know
night
a
and
lot of
day.
people probably don't even know where this is, but it is incredible, the transformation down there. And not only have we cleaned it all up, we're now going to plan, and this is part of what we're approving tonight, to do additional parkland down there. So, I mean, it's really, the transformation is going to be incredible. Thank you for all the work.
Well, we're fortunate to have miles of riverfront. This is the opportunity to get our residents onto the riverfront here in Anderson, on Anderson property. So we're excited to move
Yep.
this forward.
We're excited too. Thank you.
Okay, I move to authorize the township administrator to enter into contract with Burgess and Nyepel following review by the law director for open space planning in the Old Fort area, utilizing 94 TIF funds in the 2025 budget in an amount not to exceed $30,000.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Parker's
again.
up next.
Thank you. For the last 18 years, the township has participated in what's called a group retrospective program. This is through the Ohio Township Association. It's one of the great services that they provide to their members. This allows us to pool together with other Ohio townships when it comes to ensuring our work-related injuries. So this goes through the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. And by participating in this program, we regularly save between 30 and 40% each year off of our premiums. This year, we're expected to save 32% to the tune of about $60,000. So it's very much worth our participation to do so. We are required to contract with what's called a third-party administrator. This is the company that does this is called Sedgwick, and each year we pay them a fee. They perform all kinds of medical management services, claims management, legal representation at various hearings on our workers' comp claims. It's very, very deserved, and they work closely with us. I meet with them a few times a year. It's a great benefit to us. This year, our fee to Sedgwick is a little bit less than it was last year, interestingly. So we are required to pay them $19,500, and even with that, our savings from our premiums, it's still well worth it. So I'm coming to you for approval to pay that fee to Sedgwick for our 2026 plan year.
I move to authorize payment of $19,500 to Sedgwick for Anderson Township's participation in the 2026 Ohio Townships Association Group Retrospective Program.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item for the board's consideration, we've heard a little bit about the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Governments as far as our grant applications. We are longstanding members of that Council of Governments. In fact, Mr. Girth currently serves as the president of that organization. It is a lot of elected officials. It is widely respected throughout all 3 states and actually throughout the entire region as an organization that helps facilitate transportation needs, be it vehicular, be it rail, be it trails. And for a long time, our staff have served as representatives for Anderson Township on the Intermodal Coordinating Committee. Mr. Sievers has been on the committee for close to, if not over 20 years. Mr. Drury has also served as an alternate. So I would request that the board appoint both gentlemen to the 2026 Intermodal Coordinating Committee.
I move to appoint Steve Severs as Anderson Township's representative on the Intermodal Coordinating Committee of the OKI Regional Council of Governments and Paul Drury as alternate for fiscal year 2026, both to be installed by the OKI president.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item, Anderson Township Fire and Rescue and the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office are served by the County 911 plan. The county recently reviewed the plan as required by Ohio Revised Code Chapter 128. The plan reviewers included representatives from the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners, the City of Cincinnati City Manager, Green Township trustees served as on the committee as representing the largest township by population. There was also a Hamilton County Township Trustees Association representative representing other townships in the area, a municipal representative, and Sheriff McGuffey also served on this committee. The review of the 911 plan provided that their dispatching are provided for all communities with the exception of Amberley Village, Deer Park, and the Village of Indian Hill within Hamilton County. The City of Cincinnati and the University of Cincinnati also have their own 911 dispatchers. The plan was approved by the Hamilton County Commissioners and is required by statute. Each jurisdiction that is served must review and approve the plan within 60 days of receipt. So there is a resolution before you that would accept the final 911 plan on behalf of Anderson Township.
I move to adopt a resolution to approve the final Hamilton County 911 plan pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 128.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. Recently, and I'm sure a number of folks have been impacted by the work that's being done on I-275 near 5 Mile. That is to repair a slip and to prevent additional damage and impact to the eastbound lane of I-275. ODOT approached us recently because the slip, even though they had done some work on it, there was some additional slippage, and they declared it an emergency repair, which we agreed with. In order to do the repair, they needed to access part of township-owned open space, basically a 20-foot wide strip of land that extends from Bernie Lane northeast to I-275 right away. Because of the emergency nature of this repair, I went ahead and entered into a temporary access agreement on behalf of the township. This would allow ODOT to use that piece of land to bring in equipment and repair the slip. The contract would terminate on December 31st of this year. So I'm asking the board for ratification of my action.
I move to adopt a resolution approving a temporary access agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation and ratifying action taken by the township administrator in executing and delivering said agreement.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. We have one additional item arising from exec session discussion. I would request that the board adopt a resolution repealing resolution number 24-1017-10.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all we have this evening.
Thank you so much, Vicki, and everyone, and thank you for everyone for attending. Our next regularly scheduled monthly board meeting will be June 26, 2025 at 5 p.m. And I would now move to adjourn.
I just want to say,
Sure.
I'm glad there was a lot of people here tonight, because this was a great example of what we're really doing here at the township. I mean, there was a lot on today's agenda, different departments, so thank you, everybody. But this was a great example of what's going on, so thanks.
There's a lot of good being done in this community.
And thanks for coming.
Yes. Okay, now I will move to adjourn.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.